on like on a technical pattern standpoint, you see like what Reid was mentioning with another market, they saw three touches on a resistance, and that's a good indication of like, yeah, let's go short because we failed to break out this level previously. Let's go find a short entry. So, and sure enough, look what happened. Good morning, happy Sunday, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Reid and Glenn here with Hawaii Trading Academy. We're doing our coffee and charts today. This is a setting where, we're just going to be more laxed, kicking back, talking about the what's been happening, current events, got our coffee right here, and sharing some of the trades we took this past month. And we're share a winner and a loser. But going off of that, I mean, overall, we're almost at the end of February, dude. How's the trading been for you? If you could sum it up
Uh,
in like a few words.
Rocky to say the least. But I mean, in the beginning, rough. But now it's at least I'm a little bit in profit now. So for the month.
For the month, yeah.
Yeah.
Myself, it's been it's been what do you call? It's literally up and down.
Yeah.
I was in profit and I lost it. So it's like a seesaw, and
Yeah. I mean, that's trading though, right?
that is trading.
It's expected.
It's it's not all wins when you start, right? It's a whole journey. It's learning how to manage your losers. But yeah, hopefully we'll see how this week turns out. You got to approach it with a clean slate. You cannot dwell on your losses.
Every single session needs to be approached, I feel like, with that clean slate. Every trading session.
And I think that's where traders' mental ability comes in. Like where we're freaking athletes in a way.
Mental athletes.
Mental athletes. It's hard
Yeah.
to reset. Even though it's so
Yeah.
simple. It's hard, right? But in today's well, let's shift gears and before we jump into the charts, let's talk about like the latest. What's been happening in the markets? What's been going on? Maybe these have been drivers of price movement. The mainstream. I know one thing I mean, recently we've talked about how that one couple got caught. They were doing crypto. I think I don't know what the whole story. They built up a crypto exchange or a company.
Hold on, let me pull up that article.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So back in 2016, just to give a little context, this husband and wife, they got pretty wealthy from this whole crypto deal when all these shops started popping up back a few years ago. And I think they kind of just like built up a bunch of money and then left. And then I think the government was out hunting for them.
For the last few years,
The
they've
last
been
few
on the
years.
run basically.
Mm.
So yeah, this girl Heather Morgan and her husband Ilya Lichtenstein been charged with conspiring to launder 119,754 Bitcoin that were stolen in a 2016 crypto exchange hack from, I think, Bitfinex or Bit Exchange. And today it's worth near $4.5 billion at current market price. And this doesn't say how they were caught, but I believe like they were caught through trying to basically turn that um coin into physical cash via a card. So I mean, uh, and it was like a gift card or something like that. But I didn't read too much into it. This is just a more informed people that told me about this story. So if I'm wrong, I'm incorrect, and it could be found on Google. But just Google like a couple crypto hack. Here we go. Why not? You could keep going, I'll pull it up.
So when you're saying that they're trying to convert their Bitcoin into cash, what kind of sparked my attention was that maybe um, when they stole the Bitcoin, they obviously had to store it in some sort of wallet, right? And then when you convert, this is to my knowledge, when you convert the Bitcoin from your wallet, it it'll show on the blockchain, I believe, and then it'll go from cold wallet, blockchain, maybe to an exchange, and then they disperse cash, I believe.
Right.
That be kind of the transaction, I think. So I think in that um, transaction, they were able to get caught. I mean, show up, be like, "Yo, this cold wallet popped out of nowhere. It's coming to an exchange that's probably regulated nowadays." And then they have to report it. Maybe it's a big transaction. I don't know. You know. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting how um, you can't really, even though you think you're off the grid, but you on the grid, the
Yeah.
blockchain grid.
And then like yes. So I mean, if you guys want to know more, just Google couple crypto hack. And so just last week they were caught. So since 2016 till 2022, they've pretty much been on the run. Just last week they got caught, and yep, looks like Netflix is gonna be doing a series on them. So stay tuned for that, I guess. Plug in Netflix there. All right, and then coming into like how they got caught. If we're paying attention into what's going on in the media again, like I'm not really into media, but it's some things are just so hard to avoid. And what's happening in Canada, right? There's like this trucker protest, and the facts are their bank accounts got seized or they got frozen. Their assets got frozen. And so this kind of like goes off of crypto and the freedoms of crypto is, with crypto, you won't be allowed to, well, theoretically, your assets wouldn't be locked, right? Is that how it works that way, right? Like
Yeah,
it's decentralized. So it's a win for crypto in that sense, but
yeah. There's like two sides of that too. But yeah, it's just showing like it's crazy to hear now, especially in 2022. We're hearing that a country's government has all that enough power, or maybe it's overstepping to go ahead and lock people's personal assets because they're not agreeing with the government. I don't want to get too political,
yeah.
but in a
But I
way,
mean, it
that's
sounds almost fantastical, like it's made up. Or it sounds like it's a movie we're talking about, you know?
yeah, yeah. And this ties right into what we've been talking about with, just overall finances, investing and trading. Um, and it's crazy to hear how the normal everyday Joe they're being affected by this because they just don't. Yeah, they're protesting. I mean, everyone has the right to protest, but when um, your assets get locked from another bank, then that kind of just shows you like, whoa, like this is kind of scary in a way, Like, what do you got to do with your money? Do you really have to go back to stashing it in your bed, underneath your bed, you know?
Yeah.
And when we're just playing it out, like, okay, if it was a crypto wallet, how would that play out? And the whole reason for decentralizing it is kind of showing what, like, this whole big fiasco that's happening. We don't give the power to the banks. We have assets stored in another wallet or a cold wallet, and um, I'm still trying to like it. I think this is where the pro, a big pro of cryptocurrency comes in compared to the conventional banking system, um, where people will still have the freedom to do transactions, you know. But I don't know, like maybe the government can intervene by through the big exchanges. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, it goes back to your point, like have your own ledger, like cold storage.
Yeah.
That way they really
Ultimately.
can't mess with it, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and then just to continue off of that, it's people who even donated. So you didn't even have to be on the streets. You didn't have to even know people. If you just like, oh, I'm gonna donate $5. Like, I mean, I don't know the limit. Maybe there was a limit. Maybe it's like if you did 100 or more or something like that. But all I know is people who actually donated to the cause, their accounts were in like jeopardized as well, which was it's kind of like insane. It's like at this point, people can't have I don't know. Anyway, we're it's too political, but it's insane. And I think this is it all ties back down to cryptocurrency, the possibilities that crypto can have as far as like benefiting the future. So I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. And then like now you got me thinking like let's say a country who is going through something like that, let's say they had all their citizens on their own specific coin, like let's say 10 years from now, that okay, countries no longer do fiat, or their new fiat, the new fiat is crypto, right? It's new coin. And now they know how much everyone has, like without doubt. They could definitely, it's basically centralized, but like, they're going to promote that it's really secure, all this. And while that may be true, it's just like, damn, like, I mean, that could be a potential future. I'm sure there's a lot. You know what? Governments aren't dumb though. I'm guarantee they're looking into it. They probably, I think, who was it? The FBI or CIA or one of those people? They formed the crypto um force or something like that to look into crypto crimes.
Oh,
So,
I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised. I'm sure they probably set up shop years ago, huh?
Oh, here we
Good.
go.
But
The FBI is launching a task force to tackle crypto crimes. Task force. So it's the FBI, and 3 days ago, the Justice of Department announced this new task force to combat crimes, and it's called the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. So that's
I
a
mean,
pretty
it,
interesting.
I feel like, they're out with hopefully with good intentions to protect the people, the everyday people, you know. Um, and I was just going back to like another Netflix show back a few years ago. I think I was watching this documentary about this high schooler who was doing setting up an online drugstore, and they were using Bitcoin to transact everything. And um, it's crazy how, like, I think you were mentioning on the dark web, that's the currency that they use. It's just strictly Bitcoin, And so this
I
task
love
force.
I love this. Yeah, keep going, and then I'm gonna share like all
I'm
about
like
that.
this new task force. I'm like, oh, they could really just focus in on, really fighting the bad guys and fighting the criminals who's not supposed to be doing what they're doing. But at the same time, we have to figure out how much power they got. You know,
Yeah.
because we don't want to end up like Canada, where like, hey, you're donating to this charity we don't like. We're gonna freeze all your shit.
Like that's oh my goodness. I have a lot to say about that. Like it just sounds so weak. Like
Yeah.
like you don't like imagine you're a person and you're like, hey Glenn, I don't agree with you, so I'm gonna just cancel you. Like, come on, bro. Like really? Like, come on. Where's the anyways, it's just ridiculous. But coming back to that kid, right? So Bitcoin back in like 2014. So Bitcoin's been around since '08, right? So around 2013, I placed my first Forex trade. 2014, like Bitcoin is starting to like get up there, right? And so the news at the time was blasting Bitcoin, saying this is what crimes like people. It should not be used as a currency. It's worth nothing. Blah 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 blah. And so I did like a little rabbit hole. I actually got to go on like the Onion Network and try to use dark web just to see like how it all works, right? And yeah, it was through Bitcoin. Like a Bitcoin was the transaction. And so at the time, it wasn't regulated. It was hard to like get actual wallet. Well, for me, I was a young kid. Like I didn't really in my 20s, right? Didn't really know how to do all that. And I was like, this is really complicated. But yeah, like so it was the Silk Road. So the Silk Road, right, is the dark web essentially, and everything was Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, I could see why the news and at the time, like I didn't buy Bitcoin because I listened to what the news was saying. Like, don't buy Bitcoin because it's dangerous. Only criminals use it, and you could get tracked for it. But like, again, like this is me not knowing anything about the crypto, the blockchain. All I know is like, oh, I saw Bitcoin and it is being used to like sell guns and stuff and drugs. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. So that was like, that's my little story on like Bitcoin and how back in the day and how the news likes to keep bringing that fear up, always. Every single bear market or bear run in Bitcoin, you guys see like Bitcoin will never reach its high again. Like that's all they say, so I mean they could be right, but news guys, like news, they they love to put that fear in everyone.
They get the ratings off fear, bruh.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get our ratings up with happiness. Come on.
Come
The
on.
good news.
I,
Where's
I
the good news
remember
network?
I remember Kevin Hart was saying this at one of the conferences I went. He says, negative news travels the fastest, really fast. You know, um, it's just natural. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the human nature. I don't know. We've been.
I don't think so. I think what if it's just current society,
Society,
modern
current
society?
society, maybe, yeah, yeah. Current society, we're kind of leaning towards where
Yeah.
it's like a magnet, you know. Everyone is trying to. Oh shoot! I was. Oh man.
Or even like a human, it's because humans were creatures of communication,
Yeah.
we're creatures of community. We love talking and sharing about things with other fellow humans.
Yeah.
But to share specifically fear and like, oh my god, you guys got to read this news article. Yeah, that is what current society has developed, is like I got to
Hmm.
share the most hottest gossip. Like, no, you don't. You do not.
You don't. You
But
don't.
it's that
Right.
need, but the need for community and communication is human behavior.
Yeah. 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 It's just society, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. I didn't see we had like two people trying to get into the chat.
Oh
One of them's
shoot.
loading
Yeah,
up,
no
but
worries, man. No worries.
other than that, I mean,
Okay.
we covered some Bitcoin scheme that the couple got caught. We covered what's happening in Canada with the freezing of assets. How Bitcoin can be the answer to that. What have we covered so far? Society, craziness.
Yeah. I wanted to pull up the calendar for this week for
Yeah, let's pull that up,
viewers.
dude.
So yeah, I'll pull this up right here. All right. So forex.com economic calendar. You could Google Forex economic calendar. And so Glenn and I, we both trade the Forex market, the foreign exchange market. And that's my main market that I like to look at and trade. So the way that we do this is, there's filters up here. So forex.com, economic calendar, filter United States or whatever country y'all are in. You could filter it that way as well. But, United States has the biggest movement overall on the market. So high volatility. Actually, I could do UK also because that's the pound. Um, we don't merely mess with category, but volatility, we select the high volatility bubble. So I just selected low volatility. Now I'm gonna select high volatility. And then so this week, and then time zone, change it to your specific time zone. We don't really have much as far as, in my opinion, although it says high volatility, right? This is marked red and it's gross domestic product annualized. It may not necessarily mean that the market's going to have a lot of volatility. It's just like it has the potential to, like on average, price moves after this announcement, and therefore it has the result of high volatility. So just be prepared for the market moving, but I'm going to be trading through this entire week, regardless of these three news announcements, because they're, to me, like non-defense capital goods orders, like it, that doesn't really affect myself. Durable goods orders, no, same thing. It's probably we're going to see little to no volatility, but we'll see. As far as Monday goes, Monday is President's Day, and President's Day is a bank holiday, a federal holiday. So the US market specifically will be a little slower on Monday specifically. Not to say that there won't be any movement, because there's always pre-hours and post-hours trading hours that big whales will be trading. So I mean, like, and then even that, whales don't move the Forex market, right? But so like what I would focus my energy on either the pound session, the odd session, or the European session, because they don't celebrate President's Day. That's an American holiday.
True that. True that.
Yeah.
Yep. There's opportunities in lots of other different markets.
Right.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Or crypto. They don't. They have zero holidays, huh?
Yeah. And let's see there. That's so like back in the day, Glenn and I were just talking about like Bitcoin came out in '08. So back in the day, you had, if you own like a lot of Bitcoin, you would be considered a whale. You're still considered a whale today. But back in the day, those whales could manipulate the market almost. And that's kind of why it was shaky in the beginning. And now, even when whales do decide to make moves with their accounts with Bitcoin, there will be movement in the crypto space, but it's not as drastic as it was back in the day, because there's so much more Bitcoin out there now, and there's so many more users and exchanges holding onto Bitcoin. So AKA it's more stabilized. It's a stabilized currency now.
Yeah. That is true, man. That is true. So, what do you say? We jump into some charts. Should we do our watch list right now?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Do it,
I'm
bro.
ready.
You
I'm
ready?
ready.
Are
How
you,
about you?
you can go ahead and kickstart it then.
I mean, yeah, with this watch list, I'll cover some trades since it is a coffee and charts, right?
Yeah.
We'll cover some trades that I took. Let's see.
Same, same.
Cool. So as I mentioned earlier this month, I had a kind of rough month in the beginning. Let's see, what was this? Kiwi. Just let me find it. Okay, Kiwi Cat. I took a loss on Kiwi Cat earlier this month. So I went on the 4th. Let's see, 3, 4. Went long on Kiwi Cat. Yeah, I went long, but looks like I just got in a little too early here. And when it happens, just trying to buy into this bull run here. Let me put this on. So blow this chart up. So this is the 4-hour. It is making some higher highs now, really nice one, but I got taken out on this position here. It's actually a lot faster. So I went lot. I mean, bull, buy on this position, Kiwi Cat 4-hour. I like the bullish run, broken through EMAs, and just got taken out. So I got taken out prematurely Or I entered prematurely, not the market. The market didn't do anything. I just entered at the too early. That's all. First, after the first break, and then it pulled back. So the second break would have been good. Probably still would have been in it with this with a wider stop loss. But it's moving nicely now to the bull side. But we'll see what happens this coming week. So that's a loss, and that one was like a little. Oh shoot, sorry, one just a little over 1% loss on that one. But the last week I had a rally here. I went short. I'll pull up. This is hourly. This is Euro Kiwi or Euro New Zealand dollar. Euro European euro. And so I went short here, moved my stop just here, got taken out, and then I re-entered, and it's currently running in profit right here. And then another trade I took is euro pound. I think this was like 3 positions. I'm a little red in this one, so I'm actually expecting this to go up a little bit and then continue down. But again, that it's all based on probabilities. Probabilistically, it'll take a pullback and then continue on. But other than that, even if I get taken out here, I'm just my risk is removed just a little bit, so it won't be a full % loss. And then overall, even if I get taken out of that, I would still be in profit because these two have closed just similarly to Euro Kiwi. It's broken through all my resistance lines. So that's those are the 2 main ones I'm trading. I want to cover Bitcoin really, really fast. All right, and so I'll get into my watch list now. So this is Bitcoin. I like how this was actually a short. Last night I was looking at this formation. I'm like, this looks like it could continue down. It's broken through my EMAs. This is an hourly, by the way, hour chart. It's broken down. Looks like it can continue down. So if you're a day trader and you're looking at it and you have that ability to day trade, if I had the ability to day trade this, as far as like FTMO or like using prop firm money, I'd probably looking for short positions on this one. Let's see. Zoom out, get the 4 charts back up. I mean, we're seeing like this is some bearish runs here, but I'm not in a day trading position for crypto. So as far as the Forex market goes, I'm going to let these Euro positions play out. So I am live in 2 positions. And then I'm looking at which one was it? I believe it was a Kiwi pair. I think it was just Euro Kiwi actually. I'm looking for more. Oh yeah, okay, it's this one, the triple top right here. So I got 1, 2, and this is the daily I'm circling on. 3, and I'll make it a little bigger so we can see. So looking for this continued short, probably reject this EMA a little bit, some movement, and then a continued drop. The more hits on a specific line for me, the more confirmation I have that price will continue its way. So I'm looking for a short on Euro Kiwi. Re-entered more entries on that one. But other than that, I don't really have because the market's choppy, like odd cats moving up, but it's moving up in a very, very rough manner. Is for my trading. If you had a wider stop, then it'd be good, but I don't trade that way. And then so just mainly Euro Kiwi is my main watch. So kind of not too much, but I like to wait and see the development form this week, see how we're gonna be looking at this upcoming week. So just Euro Kiwi right now.
Solid. Yeah, I think I had Euro Kiwi. Let me go jump into my share screen. Yeah, Euro Kiwi has been, I like your 3 tops. Had a false breakout and just dumped after that. Big pullback. I mean, for me, I'm on the side. Personally, I mean, right now, I'm currently flat in all Forex positions and don't have anything. A lot of the USD pairs, they're sideways to me. Nothing really standing out on opportunity wise. I mean, look at the Euro USD. We're
Just a choppy
consolid.
markets overall, yeah.
Yeah,
You would say.
yeah. We're sideways. This is a daily chart. Sideways, tried to pop up and then just tanked, and then we popped up again. Big V shape recovery. You know, now we're back into this range. So let me just draw this little box here. It's and you know, yeah, you can trade this. There's opportunity to trade this intraday. You can, but nothing for my personal strategy or an approach. You know, I don't really care for it. So I'm on the sidelines. NZD CAD, Kiwi CAD. Weeks ago I was short, caught a nice short position on this. Now looks like price may be flipping its momentum back to go on the long side, but we'll see. It's still I still need confirmation on that end. Um,
How would a confirmation look like to you, Glenn?
I want to see price. I mean, we kind of so it made a low on the daily, and then price tried to make a new low. I mean, another low, but it was a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So
Mm.
I need the price movement to be more significant, where we are breaking probably the another this recent high. Let me draw another. Uh, you know, if price does break this previous high here, it just gives me more of a more confidence in that the bullish momentum can be there. So we could hit that level, bounce back down, and then make its way back up. But we'll see. It's as a swing trader, I can this would be a probably a probable entry for me for intraday. So if I zoom into like a 4 hour, you know, this trade should be already could be already in play. I would have probably entered back here, and then let that sucker ride up in anticipation of watching this level. Um, and I'll just move my trailing stop as we go. So that could have been an opportunity, a short-term opportunity. Let's jump to the Forex the futures market. The S&P 500. Zoom out to daily. Now we have, so like in this particular one, let me just share one of the recent trades I took. Let's go over, I think it was in the Dow, mini Dow. Let's go on a short frame. Let's see, 2 hour. There's the 14th. Okay, so I know I can zoom out. It was a 4 hour. So this was a loss I took, I think, last week. Price action wise, we hit this low, price consolidated, then it popped up a little bit, then it made a new higher high. So we made a low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And I was like, okay, I saw that price was coming back down. Let's go try getting an opportunity to go long based on the price action, because we're making a higher low, higher high. I think I got entered. Where did I enter? The 14th. I think I entered in this. I had a short stop. Okay, yeah. So on this particular bar, I saw price. It was at here at one point. If I zoom in, where are we at now? 14. Nope. Gotta zoom in more. All right. So we had this big engulfing bear bar, and then we had this following bullish bar here. And at one point, price was above this previous high. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go and do a swing entry and have a tight stop. and we'll see how this plays out. So with these long wicks, I think I got knocked out on this wick because I set my stop loss around the previous low, which is 34,300, and then I got knocked out of this one. So I got an entry up here, had a exit, and I did get whipped out, and then that's just the way that the market was at the time. It did pop up a little bit afterwards, but eventually this is why stop losses are important, because it just shows you that, okay, Glenn, you're wrong on this trade, get out, and then wait for the next opportunity. Because if I stayed in, I'm like, if I had a bigger stop, it did move up in my favor. We ended up at a new low anyways, and so the loss would have been bigger on that note. So and yeah, that's where price is heading right now. On the Dow, we are in choppy territory. I feel like there could be a lot of fear. If you look at the market sentiment, we talk about this in many of our calls, is understanding what cycle the market is in, or understanding what's kind of gauging the sentiment, right? And so what the market is telling you, we had some rough. It's been a not the best 2022 or start of the year, especially in trading. We were reaching these previous lows here, and so we closed here, made a new low for the past few weeks, and so that kind of shows you, okay, market's in this choppy territory. It's like thin ice, and if it hovers around here longer, it can potentially eventually just break through the thin ice and lead to another low, a new low. Where does that go? I don't know. Oh shoot. But that was a loss I took. Let's go to the Nasdaq. I took this other trade beginning of February, and it was a good profitable trade. It was probably one of the better trades this month. On the 9th. Okay, so I caught this nice swing. It was a shorter hold. I got in probably here, rode this nice trend up. The short run, it was a short run. Maybe held it. I had to close it for the next day. Yeah, this was, and then I probably exited. I had a few positions peeled out and then probably exited, right there or something. So that was a cool trade. I was able to capture a little over 1% there. And as far as that, those are my 2 trades for coffee and charts. Let's jump to the watch list. I was pointing out a few weeks ago that gold was making a move, and here we are. Let's pull that up.
What's it at now?
We are trading at 1900. So we broke out the beginning of February. Strong momentum here. We're retesting this previous high, 1900s. So we'll see how price reacts right now. Strong big bar, and then we have a green doji here. Who knows? It could react to that previous level. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it is breaking out though. Another one I was looking at. Let's see. I mean, a lot of other markets. I know some commodities are going crazy. So like lean hogs, crazy. Look at this gap up.
Wow. Is this due to inflation, or like any reasoning that you would think?
So let's see. I think one reason, I don't have it listed. Sometimes the contracts roll over, and so a lot of people would have to exit here, and then the new contract would just naturally open at a different price, at a higher price. So that's something we may see, but who knows? It could be a bunch of contributions from the economy, shortage, whatnot. So that's just showing you that, like, yeah, there's a strong, despite the choppiness in the indice market, the commodity market has been going up. So, like, for example, gas prices, right? You got crude oil made a new recent high of $95 per barrel, and just to think a few years, like last year or end of 2020, we were in the negatives for price of barrel. They were giving away oil because they had too much supply, not enough usage, right? Let's look at the different other precious metals. Palladium, it's similar price action to gold, broke out. We're now kind of consolidating, but we are making higher lows as we go. Natural gas is something I like to keep on. This one's a tricky market for me right now. You can see it's like a almost like a heads and shoulders forming right here, huh? Little technical
Yeah.
pattern, but it's just sharp movements, and I don't really like that. I'll stay on the sidelines for this particular market. Um, as far as I went over to Nasdaq. As far as that kind of wraps up my watch list. A lot of it's just waiting on the market, seeing for just being patient for the opportunities. Nothing really too aggressive. Like Reid was saying, tomorrow is a holiday, so um, be very light on trading and see what the rest of the week brings us.
Well, one thing I want to go off is we're noticing that gold is increasing in value right now. And I think this is just typical market behavior, because when the stock market and just basically there's a correlation when stocks are choppy, overall stock market is choppy or indices are choppy, gold goes up. Investors begin to put their money into physical metal. And so, I mean, like, that's why I believe like gold will never go out of value. It's always going to be of value of some sort. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's a good place for investors to park their money, and that's just like almost market behavior. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of witnessing, like, we get to see what the human or human psychology in a way. We get to see the different types of decisions that these investors are making by just observing the charts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's
It
super
made me.
cool.
Yeah. Go.
No, no, like
I
it's
agree
super.
with you. It's so cool to see. Yeah.
It's a lot of people just take the charts and they just like, oh, it's numbers and lines and graphs or candles. But really, if you look past that, you're gonna see that, okay, yeah, big money's moving from this sector to this sector.
Mhm.
What are we looking out for? Why are they doing that? You know, like, do they know something we don't know yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of shows.
It's yeah, because it's so like in books we read it all the time. This is market behavior, human behavior. This is what investors do. And then to see it actually happening, so like in 2020 we just saw a massive bull run across all the markets. New investors coming in thinking that if you just hold on forever you're going to be wealthy, which isn't the case, right? But um I mean, that's a whole nother tier to talk about as far as like psychology, and like, if you bought Amazon when it first came out and held, you'd have this. No, it doesn't matter. Can you actually withstand those drawdowns? 99% of people can't, and hedge fund managers won't, because you're investing other people's money. But that's a different topic. But to read that back in 2020, you just reminded me, like, um I think it was like Charles Munger or some old timer boomer was just talking about how gold is always going to have a place. It's always going to have a value. And then, like, people were talking crap about that. Like, gold's old school. Like, the new gold is Bitcoin. But when we're looking at this in real time, we're looking at this in a market in 2022, and we're seeing gold isn't going anywhere. It jumped up. I think it started the year at 1800, right? And now it's like 1900, something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, like you said, it's so cool to see this. Like we read about it all the time. Investors talk about it all the time, where to allocate your funds and how to allocate your portfolio. And now we're seeing this, like, wow, people are buying gold, or big investors are making this gold run move right now, So it's so cool to see. It's so
How's
cool
it?
to see.
How's it, Uncle? Thanks for joining in. Um,
Hey,
just want to shout him out. But yeah, going back to gold, man. Even if it's people don't see it as a amazing, like the best asset to put your money in, gold still is used like in electronics. It's a conductor of electricity. It's a really good. People use gold. They put gold on steaks. Okay, the freaking gold
true.
leaf or whatever. What's his name? Salt Bay, the pop, the steak guy.
Oh, is it actual
It's
gold?
like
Like
gold
I'm curious
leaf in a way. I think it's like
because
that super thin.
man, like I would be like, hey, this is if you ate this leaf steak, you could only take a shit in this bathroom because
I'm
I'm gonna
collecting.
recollect. I'm gonna recollect this gold.
That's right.
It's like, oh, you bought this the expensive steak. Oh, guess what? You have privilege to the nice bathroom. You make this bathroom like the size of like its own room, and it's only
Bruh.
like one per. Like that'd be hilarious,
That'd
bro.
be, yeah, that's an upsell, huh? That'd be like here's our exclusive bidet. It's gold plated. It's yours. Don't leave until it's done.
Gold bidet. Oh my goodness, man. Made from prior meals. Gold bidet is made from prior meals. Thank you for contributing.
You are saving the earth.
Bro, that's hilarious. Like recycle your own gold. That's funny. But
But yeah, going back to, I mean, gold will always find a use for things. I mean, same for
yeah.
precious metals, silver, palladium, platinum, all that, vibranium.
Speaking of gold, I know gold is it the F-22 fighters or the jets, they're plated with gold on the cockpit glass, whatever. It's plated with
Wow.
gold. Reasoning, I have no idea, but all I know is like they do use gold in that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it has, yeah, it's very useful. Very useful. It's not just shiny, but she.
Yeah, very such cool history. We should do a trading topic specifically on gold. Talk about the history of gold. You know, when it started becoming used by humans. That's so awesome.
Oh, bruh. Yeah, that'd be cool. We'll put that on the side. Possible topic for sure.
Yeah, especially in this market, I think it'd be very relevant.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. Gold, gold, gold. So we'll see. I mean, we have going back to the chart. So we're at a previous high of 1900. The next previous high would be 1950. So um, we'll see how it plays out. If there's enough momentum to take it there. Um, Now with the gold, like you can trade spot price, but I trade the futures market for gold where each tick, you know, can equal, what was it? $1 per tick. So it's like a one lot. You can either do the micro contract or the main contract, which is $10 per tick. So it's like 10 lot. And that's where a lot of the big money goes. Um, but yeah,
check
we'll see how
this
that
out.
goes.
And then
Let's see.
talking
Let's
about
see.
gold. So this purple line represents January 3rd, 2022, beginning of the year. It was 1799. It even dropped below 1800. So 1780, 1789.
Mm.
Now we are at current levels, pretty much 1900. I mean, it peaked at 1900. Currently, it's at like 1897. So we're only off a couple bucks before we really hit 1900. And I mean, it looks like it's going to be in a bull trend. I mean, as far as technical pattern goes.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's amazing. That's $1,000 increase right there. Or I mean, $100 increase, not 1,000. $100 increase.
No, you're right. It's a 1,000 pip tick increase because it's
Yeah.
10 ticks per point.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So it's 1,000 ticks. So that would be $1,000, right? You were just mentioning how it's like $1
Yeah.
per tick. Wow.
Yeah,
So
if you're
that's
trading one micro contract, that equals $1 per tick. But if you're trading the regular contract, that's $10 per tick. So
Choo,
yeah,
big
yeah,
money, big
big
money.
money, man, big money. So
So
I mean,
potential $10,000 trade from the beginning of the year. Right? That's
that's
amazing.
it. The thing, it's a characteristic to understand with the gold market. That it's not as quick as a lot of different other markets like Bitcoin. It's not as volatile. But when there is a lot of volume, it'll move, and it can shake a lot of people out of their trades. So something to really take, um, consider when approaching that particular market. Knowing the characteristic. I mean, at the end of the day, we always preach about risk management, psychology, and strategy. So if you have a proper strategy to trade it, dude, go for it. Go for gold.
Go for gold. Yeah, speaking of that, like finding your strategy, I've been trying to apply the way I trade to the gold market. So I just been back testing. I only spent like an hour or so really trying to back test. I wasn't successful, so that means like my specific strategy has my criteria has to be tweaked a little bit. But I mean, I'm still same entries, pattern recognition, price highs and lows. So I mean, same type of strategy, but it's far as like risk management and stop loss. Those are like the two things that I'll have to adjust.
Hmm.
So nothing too crazy, but just got to see how this market functions with my strategy.
Yeah, man. That'd be amazing. Start expanding your reach into
Yeah.
those different markets.
So Uncle Tony asks, what are the best technical tools to use? Example, MACD, momentum, etc., etc. So as far as technical tools goes, well, technicals, it's just reading price action. And by that we mean candle formation. Well, for me, I mean candle formation, I mean pattern recognition, ascending channel or ascending channels, descending channels, and triangles. To me, those are key. And then MACD and like volume as far as indicators goes, those are just kind of like not an icing on the cake, but just an additional confirmation. And so, like, let's say I want to go bull or buy on gold, for example. I would look at what the price action is showing, and if it's bullish, then I'm going to look for bullish positions. But I think like a key thing that I've learned from Glenn here is, trade with the trend always. And that's like the best technical advice I would say, like trade with the trend. What is the overall trend going with? And so that's what I would go with. Does that answer your question? Or Glenn, would you like to give your answer to this one?
Yeah.
What are some of the best technical tools to use in your opinion?
So I'll just jump on. I'll do a share screen real quick, and then we'll have the gold market. So, um, what you this is my usual setup right here. Um, like Reid, yeah, what Reid was saying. I mean, freaking price action is the biggest thing, and so I use a daily chart, bigger time frame. Um, and this is where your screen time has to get. Let me just remove this study real quick. Just study. Screen time is really key, and just understanding where the market is. So like, let's look at right now where the market is at. We had, if I was to just quickly analyze this market, You could see that it was just ranging between here and here, right? We talk about consolidation, and knowing that it's been consolidating these past few months, that's a key indicator of like, okay, like let's just be more patient with this market. Yeah, you can get into these swing trades where, you know, on like on a technical pattern standpoint, you see like what Reid was mentioning with another market, they saw 3 touches on a resistance, and that's a good indication of like, yeah, let's go short because we failed to break out this level previously. Let's go find a short entry. So, and sure enough, look what happened, right? Big dump, big dump, and then it pops out, and then you wait. And so, as far as like indicators, you got to pair it. Mainly, we start with your price action as your core. Then your indicator is going to be like a aid. It's not necessarily the thing that you use.
I like what you said. It's an aid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an aid. So like volume, let's look at. I have a volume indicator. It just shows you how much volume it's in the market at the time. But I mean, now the biggest thing to take away with indicators, they're lagging. Price action is leading. It's always going to be the most up to date information as these candles. These indicators will be lagging behind it because it has to wait for the bar to form, and then it'll put a thing on here where, as far as interest, it has to wait. So high volume type of scenarios, yes, you want to wait for those, but at the same time, like if your criteria, you're waiting for only high volume things, you might be missing out on some of these moves because look, it's been low volume here during this nice bullish run back up to that level. And so you gotta really figure out, okay, get clear on, okay, well, what is my criteria for entry or exit, and then what's the price telling me? So we had a big volume bar here. I was like, and it shows you a big bearish engulfing bar. So I'm like, okay, cool. Price maybe flipped its bias, and now let's look for a short. So that could be just like one criteria. Then I have my ATR here, and it just tells me the previous volatility of price in the past few, what you call, in the past few bars, and it just shows me at this moment my ATR was about 20 points, 23 points. And that just shows me, okay, my average true range of this market was 23 points. I have to be aware that it can go 23 points my way or 23 points the opposite. So that kind of tells you, and that's really based on price movement as well. So that's another consideration. That's the indicator I use. I mean, the basic indicators that we kind of share is the EMAs. So let's just pull up an EMA exponential.
Yeah, Uncle Tony, just to keep going off of what Glenn was saying, I'll look at price action first, see like, okay, am I in a bull market or a bear market? And then I'll look at that. And let's say the EMAs that I use is against it. So let's say I'm looking for to buy a buying position because I'm recognizing a bull market. What I'll do is if I see an EMA saying, "Oh no, it looks bearish or it looks like you should go short," I'll still enter the market as a buy just because I'm not solely dependent on my indicators. I like to combine all of them together. And if the pros for that buy outweigh the cons, which is, a bear, basically the opposite of my analysis, I'm still going to enter that market. So I don't let like a EMA kind of like freak me out or flake me out. Because if I know through, this is what Glenn was saying, through time on the charts, you're going to be able to recognize like a triple top, right? Sometimes that price action will form before the indicators line up in the way you want to enter the market. And I hope that that makes sense. He pretty much just covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so going back to that triple top, and then so I threw on these EMAs. Excuse me. So we have the triple top, and I have these EMAs here, and so when the teal line crosses above my green, then these represent two different EMAs. So we got the 20 EMA as a teal, green is 50. So I don't want to dive in too much, but this is just an example. We got price action, we got a triple top, then we have our EMA crossing back down after our triple top. So let me zoom in, zoom out a little bit. We have our third touch, boom. The EMA isn't really doing anything, then it decides to cross here, and so that could be a strategy or entry point, however you want to call it, to go short at this particular market. And you can see this is at very low volume, so you got to look at, as your indicators, does it all line up, right? But price action is telling you one thing, your indicators are lagging, remember? They're lagging. So that at the end of the day, price action, your technical analysis ability, or if you're trading fundamentals, you have a good source of like information. Be like, yo, gold's gonna dump, or something's telling you that gold's gonna dump. Then you could go ahead and make your trading decision there. So here's just an example of how these indicators play out. When you are trading, you have to put all the pieces together, and I hope that helps.
No, awesome, dude. He just said, so Uncle Tony, you said pretty much understanding what we're talking about. You've been practicing on the FTMO account and studying your trades. And it's so awesome because FTMO, they have that free version. And with that free version, it documents it as if it was an actual FTMO funded account or challenge. And I think that's what I really like about specifically FTMO, because we really preach journaling all your decisions in the market. And when you journal and you're able to look back at it, that's where the growth really happens. You could look back and be like, wow, why did I place this trade? I should have not entered this market. And you learn. When you answer those questions, you learn. And that's what's so awesome about FTMO. Other platforms are kind of coming up with their own style, but FTMO is really setting the bar with journaling. And then to add to that, always just be journaling on your own as well, because if you don't have FTMO, let's say FTMO has a blackout and then they lose all your trading data, there goes your journal. So I would export that data, and also write notes on how you feel, what you're thinking during those trades. How was your day? Was the day stressful? What kind of decision did that affect in your market decision making? So those small things, and that's where we're talking about mindset. That's where it's gonna really implement our changes there. You're gonna see okay, when I do this, then I trade better on average, and it's all about averages. It's all about getting those statistics. And keep it up, Uncle Tony. That's awesome. That's so cool. That's great. That's the best thing you could do is do the free version,
Yeah.
learn from it, and you're doing it smart. You're not just throwing your money away.
Yep. Yep. We're going back to what we were saying. We're mental athletes, yo. We're competing at a high level.
At a high level, and just a bunch of other traders out there too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, right on, bro. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. I think we covered all. We covered watch list, covered some fun stuff. So we could call it, dude.
Yep, for sure, for sure. That was a good call. Stay tuned for the final Trading Topic Tuesday of crypto this month. We're going to be talking about setting up your crypto wallet, going over some trades as well. Get tuned for that. We're going to shift into different topics coming this March. Stay tuned for that. We're going to be diving into back into the markets, and sharing some awesome information. So join in on that, and we'll see you guys soon.